Well, hi there. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to spend 2 days at the AI Summit in London. It was a full 2 day conference, part of London Tech Week, and I had the opportunity to hear some amazing speakers talk about what they're doing with AI and how it's going to transform their organization. And I thought it'd be helpful for me as much as anyone to order my thoughts and the notes that I took from the presentations that I watch, and to share that with you. I've put it into a number of buckets, and I'm going to cover each of these one by one, so I won't go through this list here. As I pull out specific quotes or speakers, it's not necessarily that they were all speaking on the same panel at the same time, but I've consolidated those ideas and comments from different presentations into single sections. I should also comment that as fast as I scribbled down what people were saying, it's my handwritten notes, and therefore I can't say that word for word that was exactly what they said, but hopefully I've got the essence of it. The speakers that were presenting at this conference were from a wide range of large enterprise organizations. There were a number of financial services organizations like a Barclays, HSBC, and Lloyd's. There were technology companies like Ocado who provide their technology into the retail organizations. There were online organizations like Holiday Extras. And then, of course, some of the technology companies that are providing the stack that are supporting this AI revolution. Captured a lot of their thoughts in these upcoming slides. Everyone that was speaking was a senior executive, a CXO of something, chief marketing officer, chief growth officer, chief data or analytics officer. So these are the people that are defining the strategies of these companies moving forwards. And that in itself was a big tell for me that this subject is right up at the top of these organizations. So let's start off with the main theme that came through to me, or one of the key themes, that AI, this is not about digital transformation. This is about complete reinvention of the way that companies work. With, for example, digital transformation, the move to the cloud, it was like we've got a box here, and now we're going to move that same process up to the cloud. But this is about completely going back to basics and looking at first principles of like, why does our company exist? What are we trying to do? Umang Kaur, who is the incoming CTO for PwC UK, he starts his new role on the 1st of July. So we're looking at every single product, every service, and asking, what does this look like with AI embedded? You could think about a lead to cash process. And you might think, oh, well, with AI, we can optimize some of these bits. We could give people some automated emails. We could give our customers a chatbot. But this is tinkering with the existing process. And instead, what these leaders are looking at is going right back to basics and saying, well, what is the first principle here? We're trying to get our customers to buy our product and to give us money. Well, what does that look like if we were to start that process again with AI in it? Jonathan Moore from HSBC talked about AI being pervasive. It's going to be just like the internet. It's going to be like your mobile phone. It's not a bolt-on to your existing processes. It is the new way that we're going to work. Stefan Gillick, the head of the Center of Excellence for AI at Intel, shared this graphic, which I thought was useful, talking about this development of AI as we move from these kind of, you could call them almost gimmicks at the moment, co-pilots, a little chatbot that's going to help you with an existing process today. Then we're moving on to these AI agents, which are multi-step AI processes where an AI agent is not just talking to you, but it's then taking action and it's initiating the next step of the process. And then moving on into this age of AI functions, where an entire division or team or process is run by AI. And this really is where we have this transformation of a process, going away from just nitpicking with what we've got today and actually rebuilding. How do we hire and manage employees? How do we generate cash from our customers? And do we do this with these new functions? This was a lovely graphic that was shown by Ed Chalice, the head of AI strategy at UiPath, who provided a fantastic presentation. These are some benchmarks of different AI models, and that dotted line across the middle is typical human performance. So if you look at, say, the orange one over on the left, many of us, maybe when we were at school, had some of the first optical recognition where you could scan a document and then it would get, 60 or 70% of the words right and digitize that. Well, you can see how long it's taken for that to get up to the level of a human reading. But as we move forwards into things like image recognition, speech recognition, these lines are going near vertical. And then these three on the right, which are common sense, code generation, and content generation, only really got started over the last year or so, and they are nearly at human performance. So as you're thinking about your business and your processes and how you need humans to support some of these critical jobs that we'll always need a human to do, this is a very challenging graphic in terms of humans are actually degrading some of your performance. The next core theme that I pulled out, and I've already mentioned that it was CXOs that are speaking here, but that AI is a boardroom priority. The global CMO of S&P, Standard & Poor's, which is the financial services and ratings agency, had this lovely comment. Before ChatGPT, so only 18 months ago, you couldn't fight your way into the CFO's office for investment in machine learning or AI. But now they are pulling us in. The CFO is saying, look, we need to figure this out if we are going to be competitive in the coming years. The group chief data and analytics officer at Lloyd's agreed with that. CEOs are going home and they're seeing their 6-year-old child programming and creating videos and music, and they totally understand the implications to their business and their industry. The way that we staff our teams, the way that we build our processes for our customers, our partners, our suppliers, all bets are off. And people at the top of the organization understand that their lifespan is now measured in quarters as to whether they can capitalize on this. Jerry Culp from HP shared this graphic about how your data is your competitive advantage. The graphic on the left shows the amount of data that is being created at the moment. And you don't need to know the exact numbers to know that that number is going up and up and up. And the challenge is that this data is different to data that we've had in the past. It is not all nicely structured and formatted in a table and easy for us to analyze in a database. So much of it is unstructured. It is coming from streaming video. It's coming from photos. It's coming from tweets and social media. It is locked in scanned documents. And it is this 80% of unstructured data, which is the source of so much of how we can make value from this new technology. NVIDIA's VP for EMEA, Matt, talked about freeing your data, making it accessible to your teams, realize the value from the data that you have to create new products and services for your customers. This is the first step in that process. AI relies on good data, and so much of that 80% of data that's unstructured is just unavailable for your business teams to make adequate ideas and decisions from. So step number one is getting that data organized, centralized, so that you can then do something with it. Matt Harris from HP went on to say there's a race for advantage. Most customers don't know where to start. Most projects are proofs of concept that are focused on internal use cases. Very few are about this external value creation for customers, for suppliers, for external stakeholders. And I think this is a real issue at the moment. So many of the use cases that are coming up, people are focusing on their high high run rate use cases that are internal. So we're thinking about how do we support our customer success teams? How do we support our internal HR or finance teams with these internal use cases? This is about efficiency. It's about reducing cost, and there is value in that. But if you can figure out how to use the data sources that you've got to create entirely new products, entirely new service lines, dynamic pricing, different ways that you can support your customers commercially, this is what is going to allow the second or third player in a category to completely leapfrog the leaders in that market. And this is where Matt is talking about there's a race for advantage. Everyone understands that the people that unlock these new external use cases are going to win their category. This wasn't a presentation at the conference, but it was a podcast that I listened to on the way back, 20 VC with Harry Stebbings. And Alex Wang, the CEO of Scale AI, talked about the amount of enterprise data that exists. And he used the example of JP Morgan, whose internal enterprise data set is around 150 petabytes, whereas ChatGPT-4 was trained on a data set of just 1 petabyte. So as the foundation models become more commoditized, the fact that you're using ChatGPT or any of the other foundation models is no longer a differentiator. The differentiator is the data, the enterprise data that you're going to use to consolidate the work that you are doing in there. And so companies are well advised to think about that existing data and how they can safely and securely use that in their AI models. Back to Ed Chalice from UiPath, who talked about this as well. It's about how all these pieces fit together, not the pieces themselves. And he used this quote from McKinsey: the challenge lies in orchestrating the range of your different interactions and integrations at scale. Each use case often is going to need to access multiple models, vector databases, prompt libraries, and applications. So it's your orchestration of bringing all this together that is so valuable. Another key theme was around focusing on your processes and your people, not just on the technology. So going back to Ranil, who's the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Lloyd's, for every dollar that you're going to spend on tech, you're going to spend $10 on business process re-engineering. You need to deeply understand your processes to then understand how you can rebuild that in an AI world. And supporting that, Sarah Amanda O'Keen from Barclays said AI is a team sport. It is not an IT responsibility. And so when you're thinking about how you're staffing up your teams, this is how do we get AI champions, AI advocates in each of our business teams, whether that's HR, finance, legal, whether it's our customer-facing teams, people that know enough about AI, but importantly know about the process to know how to reinvent this. Richard Haslacher, who's the global head of alliances and channels at OpenAI, reiterated that the challenge is not a technology one, it is a people one. This is a change management problem. And so as you think about how you're going to capitalize on this, that's where I'd be focusing my attention on. How do we figure out how to get people in every single team on board with AI so that we can learn from them about how AI can support their processes? Back to the PwC UK CTO. He is just about to join. He's at PwC, but he's just about to take on that CTO role. But he described how for the UK firm, we built out a champion network of 600 that are supporting a team of 25,000. We need to invest in our people as much as our technology. And so these 600 people are in every single one of those teams. He explained that he'd recently hosted an elective training day for 5,500 of their tech team with a selection of 26 different AI modules. We really need to provide our people with the skills for now and into the future. It's an opportunity for us to reinvent our business. And I really believe that when we think about that war for talent and how do we get the best people to come and join our organizations, the ability to provide them with this kind of education that they're not getting in school, they're not getting in university. This is how you can complement yourself with AI. It's going to be hugely attractive. And as came up in a number of different sessions, AI is not going to take your job, but another human with AI is. And so we've got to provide our people with these skills. Safety comes up a lot. And of course, for people that are not close enough to AI, it's a really easy thing. Oh my goodness, we can't give all of our data to AI, we can't trust it. What's going to happen with it? And the key theme from everyone that was speaking was that safety is a concern, absolutely, but it is not a blocker. I mentioned earlier that Ed Chalice from UiPath had talked about this kind of multi-model experience that customers are using. Even a single process might leverage multiple AI models. And so we've got to get our head in the game, that we're not about picking one. This is about how do we embrace multiples and ensure that that is security conscious. Stefan from Intel shared this graphic talking about these two distinct worlds. That on the one side, we've got our enterprise data, like we talked about for JP Morgan, that's 150 petabytes of data, and that is our intellectual property. We've got to keep hold of that and keep it secure. And on the other hand, we've got this multiple AI model environment that Ed Chalice is talking about. How do we embrace that and get close enough to it, but without losing our competitive advantage? And the three letters in the middle here, RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, is what Stefan was walking us through. And the majority of the AI use cases that they're seeing are using retrieval augmented generation. So without getting into too much detail, we've quite a simplified picture here. Down at the bottom, you've got the enterprise data, and up at the top, you've got the query that's either coming from a human or from an application. And what retrieval augmented generation does is bring this together in a secure way, incorporating the enterprise data in part of the prompt. But by vectorizing that means that the actual enterprise data does not make it into the large language model that's out there in the public environment. And so there are definitely ways of approaching this where you can embed that enterprise data, but without giving up your core intellectual property. Additional concerns that came up, inaccuracy. If we're supporting our customers or we're making estimates, we're making financial forecasts, we need to make sure that it's accurate. It's not hallucinating at all. We need to make sure that we're not infringing any IP, that when we're training these these models, we're not using images or graphics or sound that we're not able to train these models on. Explainability. Why is it that the computer says a particular thing? If we're going to advise a customer on why they can have a loan or why they can't have a loan, we need to be able to explain to our own people why that is. Workforce displacement came up a number of times. Is this going to steal people's jobs? And the general feedback was, no, this is about changing the jobs. Ocado gave a great presentation on the robots that they're running. And a key part of that is removing the job of the picker. But they find it very hard to hire people to be pickers because it's hard, backbreaking work in a refrigerated warehouse. So it's about having new jobs rather than replacing a huge amount of them. Fairness and ethics and reputation were a couple of others that came up. And so how are organizations dealing with this? Well, Tom Betts, who's the group data director at Kingfisher, which is a large retail group, talked about how they'd set up a centralized orchestration framework called Athena. You could think of this as like a center of excellence, which centralizes their AI strategy. Because at this stage, as he said, it's unclear which model or which hyperscaler a particular use case might use. So Athena allows us to handle multiple LLMs and to combine the outputs in a central place, just like Ed Chalice was talking about. It makes it quick for us to build applications, and we want our teams to have less fear and more curiosity. David Norris, the Chief Growth Officer at Holiday Extras, built on this with a great presentation. And the Holiday Extras team had just won the award for the top AI implementer of the year. And they walked through their process. And one of those was their AI Center of Excellence. And on the left here, you can see some of the roles that they put into that Center of Excellence. People from across the business, yes, people with a data and software background, but also people that understand the business process. And this AI Center of Excellence feeds directly into their exec committee and into the business. They're presenting on all of their weekly calls. AI is at the heart of everything that the business is doing. When we think of generative AI, it's easy to think of ChatGPT and we think of text. I'm going to type something in and it's going to type something back to me. But there were a number of really interesting presentations from media organizations. Daniel Bedingfield, the 90s pop legend, presented. He's now very involved in AI. And they gave a great example of actually writing a song and building the song using AI. He was supported by a guy called Fernando Garibay, a super producer from LA. And they talked through how in the olden days, if you wanted to create your own songs, you had to learn all these different instruments. You had to learn how to sing. You had to do all of the bits that you weren't comfortable with. But now you can do the bit that you love, which might be the songwriting, or it might be playing the guitar, and AI can fill in the gaps. Fernando said, it used to take you 20,000 hours to be an expert, and now it takes just 10. Continuing on the media theme, Clive Santamaria, the chief architect at ITV, gave some fantastic use cases about how video and audio generative AI are being used in the pre-production process. This could be, filming a film in English and then translating it into new languages, not only so that you've got dubbing like in traditional ways, but actually the AI completely changes the way that the mouth is rendered so that when it's presented in Japanese, not only has it got the actor's actual tone of voice, but also the mouth is completely reorganized so that it looks like they're speaking Japanese. We looked at examples of de-aging characters. Harrison Ford in the latest Indiana Jones, looking a lot younger than he actually is. We looked at automatically generating B-roll footage. So B-roll footage, if you're not familiar, is supporting footage to the main feed. So you could imagine an actor being filmed in a city, and then you want to actually have some flying in drone shots of that city, and they can be created automatically using the source of the A-roll that you have already filmed. And then they also use the example of automatic, that should say recuts rather than recruits, but automatic recuts and reshoots. So in traditional filmmaking, if something's gone wrong or you need to make a reshoot, then you've got to bring all the actors back. You've got to redo this. Now you can just do that using AI, building off the source footage. And a comment that came up in a couple of these sessions, which leads into this, is that everybody in the team needs to have a minor in AI. In the UK, we might say a degree in AI. It is not enough to leave AI to your tech team, to your data team. The key to these 4 use cases here is that this is about the business people, the people that are in production, the people that are filming, the people that know what they're trying to do. If they have this understanding of what AI could do, it completely reformats the way that they're thinking about their own job. And so as I bring us to the end here, every single session I was in had the word learn in it. I wish I had a clicker. We're learning, learning, learning. We're helping our team to learn. We want our team to learn. Our executive team is learning. Even these companies standing up, talking about how we're at the forefront of it. They've just won awards for how they've implemented. They're all learning. And this is why this is such a great leveler for everyone that is in business today. This race is just starting and everyone is on the same start line. It doesn't matter if you're a Barclays, a Lloyds, an HSBC, or whether you're a challenger bank. It doesn't matter whether you're a large retailer or you're just getting started in e-commerce. Your ability to free up the data and the processes that you've got and rebuild them for this new world gives the opportunity for people to completely redefine their category and overtake the people that are perceived as the leaders today. So that was my summary and run through of the AI Summit in London. I, for one, am so excited about what these next 3 or 4 years brings to everyone in every business, every industry. And I hope this has helped you to get excited as well.